Welcome back. We've gotten to the point where we have to develop the schedule, and a lot of people think this is not their strength, or that they may not know how to put a schedule together, but I can assure you it is not that complicated. You know, when we are in a classroom environment, what I usually do is I will give people post-it notes, you know, the little square post-it notes, stickers, and I will tell them to write all the pieces of the project. This is after we've collected requirements. Put all the pieces of your project, the work that needs to be done, but put only one activity per post-it note. And what you will find is that some of these activities that they put on the post-it note are too big, too wide, and they're not necessarily an activity, but they are more of a task, like a big task. So if you say wrapping all furniture, right? Now, wrapping all furniture could be several things, like wrapping the actual furniture, like chairs and desks, if we have to wrap them. But we also have to wrap lamps and, you know, other small equipment. And you also have to wrap desktops, laptops, you know, things that, you know, people would have, or maybe we could ask them to carry them themselves, but we have to wrap a lot of little things there. And so we may have several activities associated with wrapping, the wrapping before the move. And so you don't feel like it's one activity, it's several activities on the one big heading called wrapping. So if there are several activities on the one big heading, then the several activities are the activities as you see here, and the wrapping, you know, the big piece will be up here. So on my schedule that you see here on the software, vendor management will have maybe several activities underneath, which I haven't really named because this is just practice. And those activities are the ones we will schedule. Vendor management is just an overall task. So you can assign vendor management to someone, and the activities will be assigned to somebody else. But what you'll notice on the right is that the WBSs, like these, the WBS, see how it's grayed out here. The WBS is an indicator of the things below that. So if this is 5 days and this is 4 days, when you look at the WBS, it says 5 days. I did not put anything in the WBS, but the WBS, if you look to the right, that is like an umbrella or roof that sits over the activities. If I connect these activities like that, because one of them is 5 days, the other is 4 days, it is telling me that this one WBS will take 9 days. So the WBS really represents the sum or duration of the below activities that it has, or the underlying activities. If I put a price on this and a price on this, then the top WBS is going to carry the same. So I don't know if by default they show cost here, but if they don't, I can make it show. Let me just shrink this a little bit. So over here, when I look to the right, they don't by default put any cost. And so you'd have to right click here and then insert column and then go and look for cost. And then add it. So now we have the cost. You see, there is no cost right now. We did not add any cost. We just put a column for cost. But if I went to the resources, right, and I go to resources, and I add, for example, me, add, and then Joe, the name I keep repeating, and Jack, add Joe and Jack, and I say add is a work type of resource, because I could also add here wrapping wrapping plastic, for example, and I say this is material. You know, I can mark that as material on the type. Software helps you do a lot of things. So I can now put a cost for add over here. I scroll to the right and says standard rate for add. My standard rate, let's say I want $1,000 per day. $1,000 per day. And Joe, I'm going to put him at $500 a day because I should be paid the best. Because I like myself. And the other person, Jack, we will pay him $400 per day. And the material, which was plastic wrap, you know, I can remove a lot of these if I don't want them. You know, I can select these, you know, here. I can hide this if I don't want to see it. And this way I can, you know, I can put the details that I want. So I want the standard rate for what I put as, you know, plastic wrap here, right? Wrapping plastic. Let's make it $100 per item, right? Just put $100, then it knows it's per unit for sure. All right, so all I have to do now is go back to my project. Okay, so this is my project, right? And then I'm gonna say, under packing, wrapping all items, I could double click on this, go to resources, go to here, and I'm going to add Jack, who makes $400 a day, to this, and assign fully, and hit close, and you see it's a one-day task, so it shows he's getting, you know, we're going to spend $400 here. Now, if he's going to spend 2 days doing this, then it just went to $800. Notice that the whole move project now is $800 because the only WBS that has been actually costed, well, we costed this one activity, which costed this WBS, which costed that WBS, which costed the full project. Those are the only ones we put cost against. So let's add in vendor management here, let's add me, for example. I double click, go to this, add me here, and assign, and close this. And now you see it's $1,000. Let's say the vendor management, I'm going to spend 5 days on it, then it's going to cost them $5,000. But this is only, it's only going to roll up to administrative at $5,000. But you see, packing is $800, so that made the box for actual moving $800. Let me shrink some of the lower ones. See, actual moving is $800 from the one we did. Administrative now is $5,000. The one I just did, whole move project now is $5,800. That's the beauty of having software. And when you look at the WBS here, that's what it's going to show you, the whole move project. Well, it's not going to show you the money here until I zoom in. If I zoom in, you see it's $5,800, and it shows this is 5,000, this is 800. So it helps to have software because it helps show you a lot of these things easily. The WBS, as you can see, does not really get scheduled. What gets scheduled are the activities themselves. If I go to the right here, let me bring this down here. When you look at this, these WBSs, when I put the mouse next to them, I cannot really, you know, connect them to anything else. It is only the activities that show me an indicator here. See the thing that it does? It shows me an indicator that I, you know, can connect them, but I cannot connect the WBS. WBS is only affected by the length of the activities underneath it. Now, notice here that I can take this activity, connect it to this activity, and as far as the schedule goes, they are showing nicely. This is what they call a Gantt chart. That's what it says up on the left, Gantt. But the WBS for these two remains only for the bandwidth of these two. It does not really change because furniture and equipment here is going to be done between this date and that date. That's when it's going to finish. That is the WBS for these, but the activities can be connected with other activities in different WBSs. So when we go to develop the schedule, we are trying to figure inside every WBS, what are the activities, we decompose it also, what are the activities that go under that, okay? At some point, once we've connected all of the activities and we show it to management and they're happy with the duration and everything, then we say we have the scheduled baseline. But at this point, we don't have the schedule baseline. We need to figure out the activities. So we're going to do it step by step. Now, a lot of people confuse what an activity is, and they don't know how to separate between an activity and a WBS. Well, I can tell you easily that a WBS is made of 2 or more activities. Still, it may not be clear to a lot of people. An activity, it has the format of do something. Okay? So in scheduling, when we say task, we mean WBS. When we say activity, we mean, a scheduled activity. So we separate between the two. All right, I want to show you my WBS again over here. See, furniture and equipment over here. I don't have an order. It's not like I'm not requesting something. I'm just saying furniture and equipment, packing. So these can be terms like that. So this one says project management activities. It doesn't give you a specific request or order. New building setup does not give you a specific request or order, so it's a WBS. Construction is also just a heading. But under that, there will be an activity that says install partitions. See? Now it's a verb noun. Verb noun. And it has a specific order that is given to someone. Install partitions. Do something. Do this with that. So it has to have this kind of a nature, and that's called an activity. Now, if you want to, change the heading of the WBS to do a verb noun like that, do this, you can, but it could confuse you later on. It's better to give it a heading. It's like if you have files, several files in a folder, and one has the name of one of your employees, that name is just a heading. And inside will be several things pertaining to that one employee. So this is the same thing. This is a task heading. And underneath, like, decoration. Decoration is only a task. It's not an activity. Inside the activities, under decoration, you might have, several things that need to be done. All right? It could be hang the paintings, I don't know, put the flower vases, buy flower vases, put them someplace. See, the activity can only be one item, so that's why we have line items. In an activity, work is performed and described in terms of a verb. Verb means do something. Verb, objective, and noun. All right? There is action performed. It's an order to do something. A single person is responsible for an activity. Yes, you can have more than one person actually, but one person is accountable in a way. Okay? Only one will be blamed for it. It has defined start and finish dates, and the activities dictate how long the WBS task will be. Usually there's a tangible output or product at completion of that activity. It fits logically under the existing WBS. It is of a size and duration that is sufficient for control. And here I can add that usually the WBS should not really last more than 2 weeks. So every one of these WBSs really shouldn't be more than 2 weeks worth of work, except administrative things. Administrative are ongoing maybe, but if they have to be scheduled items, then they recommend that the WBS is not longer than 2 weeks to make it easier to manage. And if it's not longer than 2 weeks, then you have to imagine that the activities are also smaller than that. It is up to you how you do it, but these are just general recommendations. Don't make them too long, because then it becomes hard to really manage. The labor, if it's too long, then break it down, maybe, and make it a WBS, and have several activities underneath. So if, let's say, you want installing the partitions, let me open my software again. Installing partitions. Where's construction? Whoops. Install partitions, right? So install partitions is huge. And I feel that this would be a very long thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert, and I'm going to make this like a sub WBS, and I'm going to say install partitions in Department A. And I'll change this. So this is Department B and Department C. And now install partitions, I'm going to make that a WBS under construction. So I just made it a sub piece of the work. So there isn't an activity for install partitions only. It has 3 activities: install partitions in A, B, and C separately, which I could assign the first one to Joe, this is to Jack, and this is to Jeff. Every name that starts with a J. So I can assign these separately, and then once they do all these 3 parts here, then install partitions will be considered complete. Okay, that's how we do WBS activities. Activities should really be to assign to somebody, one person or one group. Install partitions, I can just say under construction, we have partitions. Okay? It doesn't need to be a do something anymore because I just made it a category there or a group of work. And these are the actual activities. And over here would be some other construction that we need to do. All right, so this is WBS and these are activities. Activities always have a verb noun. Do this, install that, prepare these. And even in project management, you know, one of the things might be prepare final report, okay? Maybe another activity here would be, maybe we want final report, but we also want prepare final asset sheet. So this one that says, these are the items that were in the new office, this many desks, this many chairs. You know, this is a one item thing that will be done at a specific point within my project. Overall, project management day-to-day activities will not be on my schedule. And incidentally, the people I assign work on my schedule, these are people that are actually doing work. So prepare final asset sheet. We're not going to assign this to the PMO. That will be wrong. You'll need one person assigned from the PMO. You'll need the name of this person, and you'll need to add them to this activity. And you'll need to know if they come at a cost or no cost or things like that. So every one activity that you see here will need to have a name assigned to it and a time when it's expected to be done. All right, so activities will need that. WBS is a grouping of it and does not really need that. Okay, because WBS will reflect whatever is underneath it. The labor and cost necessary to perform the activity can be estimated. Actual progress data can be collected for the activity. So we can update the activities, which one has been done and so on. And that would reflect on the WBS above that. There's also, other than activities, activities have durations. They have a beginning and an end. Milestones are a little bit different. They signify an important point in your project. They are usually important to your management. They want to know about them. They could be mandated by contracts, and that's why they are important to maybe your contractor to meet. Or maybe you have milestones that are important to you because of constraints, leases that you have to hand over, you know, the previous location and so on. So a milestone, an important point in your project. And they can be a start milestone, they can be a finish milestone, meaning we are about to start something, or something that says we have finished doing something. So you can say move is starting, move is finishing. They always signify something starting or finishing, and they are represented with diamonds. So if I want to say prepare final report, I can insert something here that says all reports complete, right? Now, all reports complete is just a notification, does not really have a duration, although it defaults to 1 day. And look at the shape over here. This will become a bar. If I make it 2, you see it stretches out. But what if I made it 0? Because this is only a notification, really does not have a duration to it. It changes to a diamond. Okay, once you make it a 0, it becomes a notification. It becomes a diamond. Diamonds represent milestones. I think that's the case when you're getting married also. You give that diamond, that could be a very important milestone. You'll never get the diamond back. So anyways, or if you find a nice big diamond, that could be an important, starting milestone in your life. So the diamonds represent important things. So here we can also add, we can say packing complete, for example. I can go in here and insert, and I say packing. This is important to management to know that we have completed the packing, and there's my other diamond. I can say, move complete also. So whatever management wants to know and be notified about, I'm going to mark these milestones. Whatever I care about internally as a project manager, I'm going to mark these milestones. There are major milestones that matter to your top management, and there will be minor milestone for you. So for things that things such as, we want to make sure that all of the packing tape and boxes are on site by a specific date, that we will make a milestone. Because if we miss this milestone, this will affect the remaining of the work. So in terms of timeline and duration, milestones represent important points in your project where some things should have been completed. And once you accomplish that, if it's important to management, then you let them know, because they would want to know just high level. They don't want to know every single detail. So you can tell them, well, we have all the supplies ready. Supplies are on site, we have received them. So they will feel confident that, okay, whenever we want to start packing, we have the boxes. Employees can now start packing. But receiving boxes and tapes and, wrapping material is not an activity, right? Because you receive it maybe it takes 20 minutes, 15 minutes to receive. So it's really not something that you can schedule for a day. We're going to spend the whole day receiving the box, That's not something we do. It's like when you get mail coming to you, at the end. No, you get an envelope coming to you at the office, you're working. This is your envelope. It just arrived. You are not concerned with what it, all the time it took. It just arrived. It's a notification. You have an envelope. That's it. A milestone could be critical to the success of the project. That's why we marked it as a milestone. It's important. It will affect everything else. If packing is not complete, for example, we will not be able to start the move. If the supplies are not on site, we will not be able to start the packing. The small day-to-day activities, these are going to be managed and overseen by us as a project manager, but they are not something we need to relay to management. Management wants to know about the critical things, the important things, the ones that would affect the direction of the project, and those are the ones we will mark as milestones. If they're not important for them, then these cannot be considered major milestones. The minor milestones will be for us and for the technical team. Maybe once we have access to the new building, that could be considered a milestone. We have been given access to the new building, so that's a milestone. So things that would be important for someone to know.